This bill is about long-term discipline. I want to compliment the President on the attempts that he is making at short-term spending decisions that are the right decisions in terms of bringing down discretionary spending. I certainly want to thank Senator Jeff Sessions. We have worked for over a year now on trying to get a spending cap on discretionary spending, both defense and domestic, over the next 3 years. The reason this bill was attractive to me is because this is, the kind of bill that helps Congress say no. And let's be honest, there's a lot of folks around here that wake up every day and they think the most important thing they got to do today is figure out how they get to stay here. And the way you get to stay here is by never saying no, by never going down a path where your bill could be twisted or distorted and used against you politically. And so the safest thing to do is just to keep spending money and not cause any waves. This bill is all about causing waves. It's all about helping Congress get the backbone to say no. And everything's on the table. There's no accounting gimmicks in here. This is the kind of budgeting process I think the American people long for, where there's no tricks to put certain things off the books and not consider them. If we're going to get to long-term spending decisions that are healthy for our economy, that allow us to continue to be the economic superpower we've always been in this world, this bill is a necessity. It's politically risky, I would say, and already my office is hearing from lots of folks who are busy trying to undermine this effort. But this is the kind of bill that people ought to be willing to go home over, because this is the time in our history that it's going to take some courage, and something way more important than whether we get reelected ought to be front and center, and that is, are we going to continue on an unsustainable path, or are we going to make the kind of decisions that our grandchildren would be proud of? Well, I'm going to work hard to try to get this legislation passed. When Jeff Sessions and I began the effort on the caps on discretionary spending, both defense and domestic spending, there weren't very many Democrats who were interested, and we ended up getting 16 Democrats to vote for that legislation. And so I believe that this is the biggest issue that faces our Congress right now, is how do we get our fiscal house in order over the next decade. I'm convinced there's merit in this proposal that is reasonable, and it is not something that we're trying to do something, as I said on the floor earlier, $2.5 trillion this year. No, that's not reasonable. This glide path over 10 years, this is reasonable, and this is the approach we should take.